Hi everyone. Welcome to another episode of Synth Geekery, episode, I think it's 241 according to YouTube anyway. Nice to have you here. Sorry we're about an hour late this week. I did have a family engagement to get to this evening. Don't forget I am streaming on my Saturday night, so sometimes Saturday nights get in the way of dinners and things like that. But here I am. It's 10 p.m. or just after 10, 6 minutes past 10 at night here in Perth, Western Australia, and it's awesome to have you. We are definitely coming from one of the most remote places in the world, and I hope you find that cool, because I do. I actually think it's really cool that I can connect with all these awesome synth people in the world on a weekly basis, and they are you. So don't think you're not included. You definitely are. Every person that touches synthesizers, it's a kind of cool group. It's a great community and it warms my heart, so it's nice to have you here. And if you are new, please jump into the chat and say g'day if you want to say it like Australians do, or hi, or wherever you're from. Let us know where you're from. And don't forget too, you can even jump on and be a talkback caller, and you can just jump on using Zoom, and that's the link there, bit.ly/Ranzee Zoom. I will put that link in the chat so you guys can click on it just in a sec. Give me a sec because I'm kind of running a little late with setting up and stuff, but it's all right, you'll get there. Although it's pretty easy to remember, bit.ly/Ranzee Zoom. And if you don't want to show your camera, that's cool. You can come and go when you please. I haven't got it quite connected up properly just yet, but give me a sec to get all those things started. While we're here though, we're going to say g'day to all these awesome people here in the chat, in the what do you call it, the vMix call, I think you call it, right? Actually no, Zoom is actually connected. Cool. How's everyone?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're all good.
Awesome.
I think we're all good, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No one's dying.
Well,
No.
it can be.
It's all clear.
Very
5 by
slowly,
5.
but yeah, we're all.
Yes, the usual.
Awesome.
At the normal
What we'll
rate.
do is, while I get a few other little things set up, I can do that in the background. We'll go through and say am I talking English this week? No, I'm not. I'm talking Swahili. Usual weekly welcomes, and we'll start off this week with who is going to be the star this week. Chris can be the star this week. How are
It's
you,
me.
mate? How's your week
I'm
been?
not bad. I'm good, thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Looked like it was nearly not going to happen, but of course it was just a delay. It's just a deferment. We try not to miss out shows, don't we, Rant? Yes, it's good.
We don't like missing out.
We are good. We're good. Yes, we don't like missing out on our fix. Yes, so I haven't got a hell of a lot exciting to talk about this week. So I'm becoming like a regular, aren't I? With no great news. Nah. Just doing a bit of what was I doing? I've done a bit of studio reorganization. So I'm just moving some mixers out from behind modulars because they got swallowed up by the modular. So I realized I had to pull it out and actually use it. So some mixers have been pulled out, so finally I can start plugging things in again. I've decided very unoriginally that I need more modular space. So I'm now thinking about cases and stuff, and I do have one case I do need to build, and I definitely will build that case, but I need more. So I don't know. I think there's a guy might have some cases spare that he might be interested in selling. I don't know, but got my ear out anyway. I'll just put out the feelers there, I think. So Rance, if you do end up wanting to sell any cases, let me know. I might be interested.
Which one are you interested in, the Arturia or the Behringer?
Well,
I've got 2 Arturias and 1 Behringer.
Yeah, I know. It's going to have to be 2 units of 6, I think, minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
it
2
might be
Arturias.
might be the Arturias, or it might. I am kind of interested in a Behringer Go case as well. That would kind of knock it on the head. So I'm still thinking about it. So I'll be interested in discussing either one. Yep. But anyway, enough about classifieds on the show. I've also been doing some mucking about with good old. Oh god, that you can't see anything there.
Oh, I just went floppy.
You'll know these. They're not Nurleys. Yes, I've been doing some eBay purchasing and mucking about with these substitutes for knurlies because I got sick of building them and sick of buying them. And we've talked about them before. It's a similar kind of thing, except because these are designed for M2.5. Now, yes, I know I'm the only person on the earth with M2.5 racks, and this is a show where there's not too many modular people watching, so this is really niche stuff. But anyway, it's kind of the thing I like doing anyway. So I've been mucking about with these, and I put little washers on them and all sorts of stuff like that, which makes them stick out a bit longer. Anyway.
I make noise skip takes M2.5, so I'm used to that.
Yeah.
So did they actually put the washers on them, or did you have to do that yourself?
I have to machine the washers and slip them on, which is actually kind of satisfying in a perverse way. But yeah, it's. I do really like
a washer on.
The ones I really like are these ones. They got a nice kind of shape. See
The long pole.
Yeah, and they've got a kind of a relief on the top and the bottom above the knurl, which I quite like.
Oh yeah, you got that little sort of steppy bit. Yeah,
it's got a good little step, which is they're very attractive. Surprisingly, I was actually very pleased with what I got.
So are they actually called anything, or are they like what are they actually supposed to be for?
That's right. You know what they're for? They're for digital calipers.
Oh right, I thought I recognised them.
Yeah, I know. I nearly flipped when I pulled out my digital caliper and went, "Hang on a second! Oh, these are 2.5s.
I'm going.
These
to
have been sitting here,
now.
and I've never. Yes, I know. They've been sitting there in my many different calipers, and I've not even thought to try and unscrew it and plug it and screw it into my rack.
Sitting right at the top, yeah.
So,
Look at that.
and because so many people have those calipers now, I think it's pretty much more supply. So there's more people making them, and lots of Chinese manufacturers making them, and
Do you want me to
stuff
show?
on eBay. They're not super cheap. I mean, they're Australian dollars.
I'll show them.
$17.
You keep talking, Chris.
Probably about 17 Australian dollars for 30 units of those. Yeah, those kind of ones. So yeah, I've got a few.
Oh, mine's got the
tried
nice little
different
steppy bit in it too.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's probably yours might be more recent than some of my old ones because I got them years ago.
Vernier caliper.
Yeah. So yeah, apart from that, been doing writing boring firmware for my next module, which is going very slowly, so don't need to talk about that. It's boring. And been preparing for the release of the Cable Monster.
Ooh.
We are getting there. There's been a few hiccups along the way.
It's a monster.
It is a monster. It is indeed a monster.
Show us your monster,
yes.
Chris.
Oh, it's you want to see the monster, do you?
For now.
This is the
Whip out your monster.
This is the modelling monster in its storage form.
There we go. That's lovely. That's a lovely thing.
It is kind of cool. I am quite proud of it, and so is.
Just remind
my
people,
mate.
Chris,
Yes.
what it would cost you to buy a Eurorack cable, generally speaking, like from a shop, versus how much it costs you to make one. Because this is a really big point.
No difference. Yeah, it's like what, probably $4 or $5, maybe $3 or $4 or something to buy the parts, and then you've got that's it's a minimum of $1 something for 5 meters of cable, and then you can make quite a few. So yeah, I don't actually know Rants off the top of my head.
Okay,
I have to
Most
actually
ones I
go.
bought were around $5, $6, something like that.
I have to go into a spreadsheet to find out what I've written in the spreadsheet.
Someone will tell us.
But it varies because but yeah, I'm thinking quite a few bucks, and you get 5. They usually sell them in packs of 5, and you get one length, and it's that particular style. And if you want variations, or if you want to do interesting things like last week, you were talking about your 2HP modules, and how sometimes that can be a bit of a pain that they take up so many spots on your power boards. If you had double-headed cables with 2 heads on them spaced apart just enough for 2 HP modules next to each other, sorry, I'm making rude sounds to the camera, may that be a solution to that kind of problem? I don't know, possibly. I'm thinking anyway of other uses and things you can do. Opens up possibilities when you can make your own cables, because then you can start making decisions about how you want.
I
to
mean,
use them.
it's just electrical connections, so a double header would not be a problem.
Exactly. So it's one of those things. It's something you could. I mean, like, if you were getting into it, you would have to buy a lot of equipment and then muck about, and then you kind of waste some connectors, and then you're like, oh, I paid so much for those connectors, how to recycle them?
I'm also trying to think, Chris, I'm trying to think like bus boards. Most bus boards on a Eurorack module would probably, I would say most of them would probably have a group of headers, right? And they would all literally be across the same, like you could connect them all electrically, right? So there's nothing in between. There's no capacitor filters or anything in between. There are some very rare Eurorack module bus boards which have filters on every single header.
Yeah.
So that would be the only case where that
would be the only case.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you really want an individual power conditioning,
yeah,
then yes. And the other, I mean, having individual cables is quite handy actually when you have modules that are reasonably large and you want to move them around a lot, because it's a lot easier than trying to have two piggyback ones.
Indeed.
But but there are definitely cases where you do have a couple of modules that you always have together, or for example, if you have a module and a companion module, sometimes they come with a ribbon cable just going between them, and sometimes they need separate power,
right,
depending on how sophisticated they are. And that would be a great case for a double-headed cable. And I suspect that the manufacturers possibly sell them that way too, because they would have thought of it too.
Yeah.
But I'm just speculating because I don't have every single combination module out there.
No, but it's a cool idea, because what people, just in case people don't really understand what Chris is talking about, when you're plugging it into the bus board, you're only plugging one power connection into the bus board, and then the cable comes out, as a double ribbon cable to two different modules. So you're only using one header on the bus board.
It's like a two-headed snake or a hydra.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. Shall I keep going to someone else? Are you finished, Chris? Sorry, I didn't
I'm
mean
finished.
to cut you off. Thank you so
fine.
much.
I'm finished.
No, awesome. Who can we randomly go to next? What about this one? Hey, Andy. Muted. Muted, bud. Quick, find the mute switch. Where is it? There it is. It's fallen down. Hang on. Wait. You've got that, and it's not unmuted yet. Do you want me to come back to you? All right. Why don't we go to Ian?
Hello, welcome to Ian's
Empty house.
weird camping. Yeah, this room used to be my bedroom. I am sat here in my. We've got two camping chairs, and I'm on a kids' table. My week
Rather relaxed, mate.
Yeah, I'm chilled at the moment. Most of the stress stuff is over. So
good.
I've been busy this week, but it's not all about the house. Tuesday, I finally got to go and sing with the band that I sang with in the late 80s, early 90s for a couple of hours, which was quite a fun thing to do, actually. I didn't know I could still, I still had the voice, but the songs were all right. So I did that on Tuesday, did an EMOM on Wednesday, while we were still Jane stayed here and packed boxes. I went off to the EMOM and then came back and packed boxes till about 2 o'clock in the morning. The shippers turned up on Thursday, boxed half the house that day and came back on Friday and boxed the other half. We are sat in an empty house. You might hear a bit of noise because we've actually got the cleaners in. Because I tell you what, when you move all your furniture, God, your houses are dirty. Oh, they are in Yorkshire anyway. So we've had the professional. We've had the professional cleaners in. We exchanged contracts on Friday. We are here until Monday. We complete on Monday, and then we're off to London. So all being well, next week's show it'll be in a room in my son's house in London.
Oh,
but yeah, amazing. It's been another roller coaster week. Lots of stress, but actually we are getting towards the end of it now.
Fabulous. That's great. It's good news. There's light at the end of the tunnel.
There definitely is.
I have to admit, it's been a. I mean, we've kind of been on this journey with you because we get
coming with me all the way. Yeah,
we've
you
got
get
the weekly updates. Yeah,
right. Exactly. I mean, it's taken a whole year.
Yeah,
A year and 3 months. Because we're in March now, so we started this process at the beginning of last year when we started. We started actually looking at houses and going down to the southwest. So it's been a long time coming. And you'll get to see, the interim, because we're certainly. I think that at worst case, we're 3 months away from being in the new house. If we're lucky, it'll be 6 weeks. So we've got a month in London, and then we're going to rent somewhere. So, but yeah, it's And thanks for coming on the journey with me, guys. Because
we're part of the support network, Ian.
You are. I couldn't have done it without you. That's true.
We're sitting here not writing music with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
What it feels like.
Although the amount of music gear that's going in the car, which Jen doesn't know about yet, for me to actually do some music in London, because I'd like to do some. I mean, in fact, I'm definitely doing some music in London because we had a get together in York last night with our York friends, and one of my mates is coming down on the 26th to London, and we're actually going to go and play in a pub somewhere. So
cool.
That will happen.
I mean, you can just take that. There's 16 DX7s in there.
Yeah, exactly. I could if I had one. I mean, the organelles there, the Lindstruments, the OP1, the OPZ,
Fabulous. Now, Andy, have you sorted out your microphone? Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
No, we'll go to Daren.
It does.
Oh, your image. What happened there? Your image. Show us your image.
I don't know. I didn't put my image.
That's a bit weird.
No,
What'd you do,
that's
Darren?
bizarre.
He's projecting.
I don't know.
his
We've
video
had
onto the
issues.
image.
Everything's had issues. Well, I came on the channel and I've got a funny glitching noise in my ear.
You just blame me for that.
I was switching everything off thinking it was me. So everything's switched off now and it wasn't me. I've pretty much been like Kurzweil. I've not done a great deal. I put out a quick jam last week and found out a glitchy noise. Chris heard it on the jam.
Yeah.
The video doesn't correspond with the jam because I sort of thought, well, I'll have to put a video out, so I recorded the video afterwards. So basically the week's been just trying to suss out what the glitchiness is. That's about. Oh, and now I'm needing to get a hot glue gun because of my project for the live rig sort of went not the direction I was intending to, so now I've got to replan my little boxes and things. So I need a hot glue gun now, so I'm waiting for that. So I've not really done much music, just that live jam last week, and tracking this glitch down, which I thought, well, I'm assuming because I've been doing it all morning up until the show. I was doing it at the show, and this is where Ranzee's fault comes in. So I was doing it right up to the show, testing out just the force. So I'm running through the headphone socket to see whether it's the force that was causing the glitch. So I had my earphones on my head and this small one in here so I can listen to Ranzee. And then, of course, when I went on Ranzee's show, which I'm still doing the force, he's got a glitch, which then makes me think, bugger, because he was saying it's not his glitch. It's over my side, so I thought it was the force. So I switched everything off, and it turns out that it wasn't the force.
It was my side.
It was Ranzee's fault. So I think I've sussed it out that it's not the force. Although I did get a slight, it didn't trigger one of the samples quite as quick, but it wasn't the same sort of glitch noise. So I'm moving more towards it's either the monster or maybe the audio interface for Ableton was having a glitch going in. Is what I'm thinking. So I'm probably leaning towards the interface when Ableton was recording the jam, that the glitch coming through there. I'm not 100% sure, but because don't forget it's still on Ableton 9.7 and the Mac OS is getting a bit old now. So I'm assuming it's that, because I was only recording it into Ableton, that was all. And as far as I know, I've not found any glitch outside of that. So I'm hoping and touching wood that is the problem. But I'll still be doing some more
Darren,
tests.
The thing that fixed my glitch was literally just restarting my computer. So maybe You never know.
Exactly. It might not do it.
Just
Well, you see, that's the other thing. I've switched the force off and switched it back on, and that restart might have solved it. It might have been coming from the force, but
Yeah.
it's a random one as well. So that's the only problem with random stuff, in it. You can't track it down to a specific
That's
thing
right.
because it's just completely random.
Intermittent.
Uh,
Yeah, very frustrating.
Yeah. So basically, that's all I've done. I'm just waiting for my glue gun, and then I've got to do a little bit more work on the rig. The only problem is this rig's getting so complex that it'll take me 2 or 3 days to set the thing up. So,
Well, at least you won't have to turn it into a product after you've finished.
well, exactly.
Welcome to my world.
It's just,
Or you.
yeah, that's true.
No, but Darren and I, we get judged about our abilities to craft stuff. we really aren't like craftspeople.
You know,
I was going to say, you've got to remind
No,
people sometimes, we're musicians, not craftspeople, please.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I
Be
don't.
kind
I don't
to us.
These things I'm
Yeah.
having to get the glue gun from. I don't have this equipment. It just becomes. I just come down to needing these things for small little things of projects that have now come into my mind. So I don't have anything I can turn around and start work on. It's like now I need to get something for that.
Yeah, and
Just to do
you're
this
always
little
popping
project.
down to the local hardware store, and you just
Yeah,
you're
So you
starting to get
spend
to know the
more
staff there
in getting
more.
bits that never work. But the actual thing.
Is my
to
mic
make
working
in the
now?
first
We good?
place.
Yeah, Andy.
Ooh, yeah.
Ah, yes.
Cool.
So that's my week.
I had to
So
reboot
if
as
you haven't
well.
heard the
Awesome,
live,
Darren.
Check it out.
I definitely did. I've just scratched myself, and now I'm bleeding. Anyway, enough about me.
annoying.
Andy, how's your week been?
Yeah, sorry, for the third time. I had to reboot as well. Stupid Windows, but
There you go.
yeah, everything's
See?
fine.
Glitches everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially Windows, you expect that, right?
Right.
The old saying, when all else fails, reboot. So yeah, pretty basic week, not going on. I did do, in preparation for the upcoming thing later this month with Eddie, the second guitar 6 oscillators synth show. I did some Casio MIDI guitar stuff the other day on a live stream just for fun. I also play with my little favorite Tenorian. I did like a little tutorial on all the cool features on it if you guys haven't seen it before, because if you go out there and look at the videos on YouTube, most of the videos you see are a really basic, like plinky plonky song demo.
Can you
with
hold it up
built-in
again?
sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just
It's
really
off
quick.
right now, but it's
Yeah.
Oh, Tenori, yeah.
Just we've seen it before, but just so people can see it. Yep.
and the back, so the audience can see this if you're live, but no buttons here, just pass through.
Just
But these are all nice tactile buttons, and then you have quick macros on the sides here, speakers on the top, a cancel button in the middle for quick killing a channel and stuff like that. But anyway, I have an SD card in there loaded with all kinds of projects, and one of the secrets of this guy is loading your own. People have barely done in some videos online, but not too much. But they don't really exploit the box very well because, like for example, layer 16, these are hardwired MIDI layers, 16 layers, 16 MIDI channels. So channel 16 at the top is a live mode. There's a bouncing ball mode in here good for percussion. I did a couple things in there with polyrhythms and stuff. But the top layer is the opposite. So the closer you get to the top, the faster it gets to be in a ratchet. And when you're in a live mode, you can actually vary your position here and get these cool polyrhythms that way, but it's live. So if you like slice up a almond break, you can do live drum and bass with this thing. It's a trip. Anyway, so I did a little bit of that. I did some more of the Chorda thing and some other stuff. If you guys want to see that, about 3 days ago, something like that. I forgot now, but that's about it. Otherwise, pretty boring week. So glad to be here as usual, though. Got an extra hour of sleep.
Yay! Thanks to the family outing.
That's always good.
Yeah.
We like.
We
like
might, you know what, because you guys have got daylight savings about to change again very soon, right? It is March. I believe
March.
it's usually around mid to end of March. You guys have your daylight saving changes, right? So
last week
guess.
in March.
we might leave it. We might leave the time as 2 p.m. UK because I think that actually works well for you guys when the clock changes.
Doesn't that mess you up though? Because you usually want to go to bed at your midnight, right? So.
Oh, okay. It's my end that changes, really, isn't it? Yeah, I see what you're saying. Oh, anyway, it's late at night. Don't get me on maths.
Do not make these decisions during the stream, people.
Yeah, don't get me on maths tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
even though I've got a degree in it. Don't get me on it. Right. Okay, so this week for me has been pretty quiet as well. I don't think I've done much in terms of like development of stuff like that wise, but I have been doing more sort of music stuff this week, and one of the reasons is because now I've got a modular system that's back up and running, and I've been able to connect it up, and she's all working beautifully. One of the things I was looking at during the week was with the case that I've made, the design, you guys can see them just here, I might actually put some fans in them. And the only reason is if you lived in the UK or in the Northern Hemisphere where it's a bit cooler, it probably would only just need passive vents in there. So you'd probably have if you were to design something like this, you would probably have a filtered sort of groove down the back on the bottom for an intake to bring the cool air in, and then you would have an opening up the top for it to exhaust the hot air out. And that would probably be fine for you guys but in Australia we have a little bit sort of bit harsher sort of heat here, and I'm probably going to put a Noctua. I don't know if you guys have heard of that brand. They make fans for computer PC cases, and they're very, very quiet. There's a couple of reasons why they're quiet, but we won't go into it, but it's because of the way they design the blades on the fans. They're quite aerodynamic, blah blah blah. But the cool thing about the Noctuas is they make a 5-volt version, and I've got plenty of amperage happening on my 5-volt rays.
I see what you're thinking.
So I'm going to be drilling some holes. You use these kind of, these saw drill bit blades. So I'll be drilling a few holes in the back of the case, and I'll be putting the Noctua fans in and wiring them up. And what I'm going to do is on the front of these cases, I'm going to put a potentiometer in here where I can, because they're PWM fans. I don't know if you guys know much about there's technically, Chris, I know you're nodding your head. There's more than two, but generally speaking, no, you can talk. You don't have to shut your mouth. But by the way, you guys can't see what I can see, but I can see what those guys are doing in the background while I'm talking, and it's kind of annoying. Not really. So there's basically two general types of fans that you have in electronics. One is kind of basically just a voltage fan where it literally just runs at the voltage you throw at it, and you can put a potentiometer across the volt rail, volt connection on that, and it will resist the voltage going into it, and you can control the speed of the fan that way. But generally speaking, the PWM fans are better at low speed. Because you may not want your fan to go absolutely gangbusters, 22,000 RPM, setting up a little mini hurricane / cyclone in the back of your Eurocase. So a PWM fan is better, generally speaking, when you want to control at low speed, and you might want to have like that exhaust sort of just trickling a little bit of air out the back of your case. So just for those people who are interested in fanning their own DIY cases, that's kind of the theory that I've come to. And really that's just from my experience working in IT, building server chassis and things that sit in rack cabinets that sit in massive, huge data centers. Like you use PWM fans for those because the operating system can actually control the speed of the fan as it needs to ramp it up or ramp it down. I don't know if you guys have ever been into a data center. I'm sure Andy has, but not everyone has. They can be extremely loud at those places. So you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so Noctua, they're one of the quietest fans in the world, which is why I want to choose it. And the cool thing about it is I can turn the potentiometer right down to the point where it literally won't even spin. So you can turn them off. They also have a sensor on them as well, so if I wanted to, I could run some electronics into that and display. There's two different things I can do. I can run a thermal probe inside the case, and I could run a internal temperature, so I could actually read it out onto an LED display, or I could just run the fan's RPM speed. I could have both. So I'm thinking about having like a little cutout here and having a little display module there. And now, Chris, that I'm going to be doing that, now maybe I might put those voltage ones in that you were talking about the other day.
Oh yeah, the voltmeter, current meters, little ones.
Yeah. I guess kind of like another thing that I've been doing too is I've been looking at kind of cable management. Now, right now, I have not even touched cable management. I've just got wires just hanging out everywhere, flapping around in the breeze like that. Do not worry, it's not going to look like that permanently. I'm just testing things out at the moment. Anyway, it's my case. I can do whatever I want if I want to have cables flapping around the breeze. But I definitely will, because I'm a bit of an OCD person. I don't really like cables hanging around. Mainly because I want to get to the controls of things, right? So you don't want to have cables kind of in the way of, you can see that one's kind of in the way. Get out of my way. Get off my lawn.
They're all in the way, aren't they?
So yeah, that's what I've been doing. Hopefully that wasn't too boring for you. Right, okay. Chatties, let's say good day to the chatties. Let's not forget about chatties. Jeez, crikey, says Lady Aptitude. There we go. Who came here an hour early? Let us know in chat. Bet some of you did. Please, if you're ever wondering if that really grated on you and you're getting angry and you want to throw something at me, just use the YouTube channel because it does tell you when the streams are advertised on there. So, anyway, we did have a few technical difficulties at the start, but I think it was
sorted quickly.
I did a stream earlier during the week, and I put the wrong key in to the ATEM, so that was why it started streaming into a different. I don't know why, but it just did. So anyway, that was fixed. Anyway, say good day to everyone. We've got Half God, Half Beast, Pat Brady, Wagoo, Andy Synchrotron's there, Exorb's there, Simon Great Batch is there. Simon, you should change your last name to Great Patch. I reckon that'd be awesome. ASIO Head, Bert's there, big hello to you. James is there. George Kempson. Hey, haven't seen him for ages. Good to have George back. Fantastic to have George. Matt, Brown. Fantastic to have everyone. I'm not just picking anyone out. Failed Musos, Robbie's there. JX3D, one of our channel members. Awesome to have you, Henrik. I still don't know how to pronounce that. I don't know. Someone corrected me. I said it was Russian, but it's not. Is it like Polish or? It's not Polish. Is it like Czech? Is it Krylik? I don't know. What is it? Tell us what it is anyway. Jim's there. Scrolling. Then we've got people that are in the show. JP Page 2, awesome to have you, bud. Keith in Watford, one of our channel members as well. Awesome to have you. Ken Lewis, nice to have you, mate. QRDNK, nice to have you as well. Have I doubled up? I don't think I have. I'm pretty good. The mind's pretty sharp still, guys. I'm not getting that old. Anyway. Culture of Ghosts is there. I think I said hello to Lady Aptitude, but yeah, just in case. Big hello to Babs. That'll do for now anyway. It's literally... I'm actually interested to see if anyone sat there for an hour wondering when the stream was going to start. Because we did do something kind of weird. Anyway. Cool. Right, we do have a show, and there is news. Now, I bet you, a lot of you guys were thinking to yourself, geez, there's not much news going on at the moment. Well, I thought the same, but were we all wrong? Yes, we were. But you're going to have to wait, because we have this segment to get through first. Stranger things can happen when you're looking at memes. Like, for example, you may actually laugh. Like this one. My husband will be home at any moment. Quick, take the DX7. Take the DX7. Quick. This is Robbie's house, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
He's got this look on his face. Don't you reckon? It's like, no. No. I'm not taking the DX7.
I don't know art, but I know an FM shrimp.
He wants a PSR instead. So.
Yeah.
All right. Next one is Welcome to Heaven. Here is your harp. Welcome to Hell. Here is your Byrotron.
Yeah.
What's a Byrotron?
I have to. I don't know.
I don't
Not
even
sure.
know. What
It's a
that is.
homemade Mellotron thing made out of tape decks.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't even get that because I'm stupid.
It's cool. It just is noisy.
All right. So maybe they should have said, "Here's your Timberwolf."
Yeah.
I reckon that would have been funnier.
Stylophone? No.
Or Genos 2.
Yeah. Anyway, here's your Behringer clone. No. Anyway, the four musicians of the apocalypse. I like this one. This is good.
Yes.
Robbie. There's a DX7 there, mate.
Yeah. And an accordion. But
Yeah.
I like the accordion. I've got an accordion.
Yes, you did send that one in, Robbie. Thank you very much. And that one, he's going, and that one, and that one. These are all mine. Good on you, mate. You didn't send this one in.
Keeping us
In the
blind.
beginning, God created the DX7. How you going, Phil? God, he's looking a bit older than that now.
Wow.
Look how excited Tony looks right there.
Yeah, Tony. Good old Tony Banks. Hey?
Yeah.
Poor old
Intense
Phil's not well, is he,
concentration.
these days?
No, he's not doing too well.
he's
Tony's trying to
not
work
well.
out how to program that algorithm.
So
Through that
where's
one
the
line.
filter? Where's the bloody filter?
So if I've got a sine wave and it's a carrier, then what do I do if it's an operator? That's the look he's got on his face right now.
Yeah.
No, the modulator's on 6. No,
Is it-
the carrier's
I
on
didn't get into
6.
music for
No,
this
that's
crap.
the
Sorry, that one's. How the hell did Rick Wakeman get in here? Nancy Drew's Mystery Stories.
Wow.
that's
That one was good. That one was very good. I like this
superb.
one. But that is not all. There's one more.
There's one more.
And
Oh,
yes,
yes.
Robbie, you sent this one in as well. And I'm going to definitely let everyone know that you actually sent this one.
Wow. It's not a Volca. It won't fit.
Yeah.
No,
This meme has a lot of impact.
it does.
People might get butthurt
And that's
over
saying
this
something.
meme.
Indeed.
And jokes like these,
Mm.
please regularly visit our show. Right. Favorite meme of the week. Chatties, let us know in chat. And also, you guys. I know what my favorite was.
Yeah.
What's
It was the
Rick
one that
Wakeman? I
Robbie
like that
didn't
one.
send in.
It is between the Wakeman and the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
It's the. I think it's the four
Horsemen?
Say it. Four
That-
musicians
that does-
of the apocalypse.
That does kind of have a little bit more of an aftertaste that just lingers and lingers as you just look further into it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying the DX7. Favorite was any of the DX7 ones. Well, that was like 3 of them. The wife, take the DX7. Nancy Drew for me. Yeah, Nancy Drew for me. Wakeman for me.
Nancy Drew's good.
Yep. Okay, so it's going to be a cross between. Let me just see what the chatties are saying here. Ooh, I'm thinking it's a cross between the Apocalypse and the Nancy Drew one. Or maybe the wife's DX7.
Yeah. Yeah, DX7s are all.
Yeah, there's
quite
a lot
few
of
there,
DX7s in the chat.
Yeah, but they haven't really specified which DX7
No,
one because
they
there were 3
haven't, have
DX7
they?
ones.
Be specific, people.
All right, Jim, tell us which DX7 one it is, and also, Kosh, tell us which DX7 one. And same with you, Steve. Do better, try harder. Wife's DX7 for Jim.
Ding,
All right.
ding.
Okay, looks like the wife's DX7 one gets it.
Okay.
There we go. All the DX7 wins, says Robbie. You know, Robbie, that we're actually taking the P155 out of DX7s, and you're actually happy that DX7 won. Okay.
I think.
He's got a DX1, so he's not bothered.
Doesn't care. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't mind as long as we're talking, whatever we say, as long as we're talking about them.
That's awesome. Right.
We're talking about FM.
Not speaking of DX7s, we've got news. From around the world, we have collected some little snippets of things that we want to bring to your attention, and we call these News from the Geekery. And the first one is this cool little thing called the Pittsburg Modular Taiga, which I think they call it the Taiga, by the way.
Yeah, I think they call it
But,
Taiga, yeah.
but, we know the Taiga exists as a desktop module, but the only thing that's different about this one was the obvious thing, and that is that they've put it into a keyboard. But also, have a look on the little right-hand side of it. They've whacked a couple of HP there for your eurorack. Isn't that nice? I like this. Yes.
Yeah, yes, I think this is a really good idea.
Yeah.
You know, for
it's a
those
gateway,
guys
though,
like
Ian.
me and
Watch out.
Robbie. I know, but actually, I really think it's a brilliant idea. I'd put some sort of really weird module in there. You know, my only criticism is I think it's too expensive for a mono synth.
1,299 schmackaroonies. That's American schmackaroonies.
Yeah.
Can I
We're
tell you
looking
guys?
at over $1,000 UK.
Can I tell you guys a little bit of the features? I mean, obviously the features are the same as the Taiga desktop, but just so you guys don't know, let's go back to the graph so we can have a look-see. It's a paraphonic synth, it's not a mono synth. It's paraphonic. It does have unique additive elements to it, so it's kind of like a subtractive and additive synth. It has a 37-note after-touch equipped keyboard with full-size keys. They're fully patchable using the Taiga keyboard's components as a separate module with an external device, or reroute it to its internal patching. So you get like this keyboard module that links in, which is a cool thing, and maybe that might actually be handy for any type of CV keyboard. I don't know. Revisit that. There's a 24 HP powered eurorack module expansion bay, which is that little thing on the right. That's so if you're wondering how many HP, it's 24. There's 60.
That's great.
Yeah, and 24 HP may be all you need. They've got a little create audio module there. That's that one that we showed a couple of weeks ago. The Swiss
The
Army
big
knife
red
top.
one, or-
Yeah, the red
No,
one.
the other.
Yeah. 64 patch points up the top. If you're wondering if you've got enough patch points for your synth, well, there's a shite load up there where you can route internal signal flow and integrated external sounds and modulation sources. There's controllable stuff via MIDI as well with this synth, so it's not just Eurorack CV stuff. And it's also got a pseudo random sequencing mode and a clocked sync arpeggiator as well. So 3 Pittsburg modular synthesizers developed 100% analog oscillators, each with dedicated coarse and fine controls. Oscillator waveforms have sine, triangle, and saw, and waveforms can be combined. There's 3 Pittsburg modular synthesizer 6-stage wave folder / shaper circuit, which folds inputted waves back onto themselves and increases the harmonic content, which it certainly does. Oscillators include frequency modulation, or FM if you like to call it that, noise generator, which is pitched somewhere between pure white and pink for those wanting to play along at home. Perfect percussion for adding a bit of edge to the sound. Variable state multi-mode
Filter.
Pittsburg no dead spot
Filter.
with a low pass, band pass, high pass mode, which all can be combined as well, which is interesting. Sample and hold, 2 ADSR envelope generators. There also is a dynamic section, which is an alternate to an envelope generator, and a VCA, and the dynamic controller is a Pittsburg modular invention that adds dimension of control over the Vactrel-less low pass gate circuit, adding a release time. And there's 2 dual range analog LFOs with square and triangle. There's a bit of tech stuff about the LFOs if you're interested. You can ask me later if you want to know. 2 channel mixers, 3 channel mixer joined, so it's capable of mixing both audio and control voltages. And there's a bit of more stuff like FX echoes, and they also come with the box. So when you buy this actual synth with the keyboard, it actually comes with the NASCAR Noodles patch cables as well. You get 10 of them. So when you think about it, in $1,299, so go price what the Taiga is by itself as a desktop module, okay? Then have a look at how much the module is that they're including with it. Then you got your 10 patch cables, and then you also get the keyboard chassis as well. So when you think about it, it's actually probably not too bad, the price.
Yeah.
How much is the Nifty Keys, for example? Nifty Keys keyboard one.
I can't remember what I paid for mine. It was a lot of money by the time it came down to Australia.
800
$1 million.
$1 million.
Yeah.
That slot would be perfect though. You could fit a Morphogene and a small FX8 in there and be all set.
Yeah, that'd be.
I'm just really surprised that it hasn't. Sorry, I'm just really surprised it hasn't been done before.
It is
because it's a great idea, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a really good idea. Nifty, I paid £450 for my Nifty Keys.
See, so
plus some delivery costs and stuff like that. There you go.
Yeah.
So it's similar money.
Yeah. I think I've done that.
Yeah, it's not overpriced for what it is. No. It does a lot.
It's just, I think.
Don't forget though, the Nifty Keys is a lot bigger. Like it's.
It is. Yeah, it's a full one.
And the Taiga itself does a lot too.
HP.
So it's,
yep.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing I wonder about here is I think the people who are going to probably spend that kind of money on this aren't the people who are thinking of tinkering with a bit of modular. I think they were the people who are already kind of waiting for something like this. They'll be the ones who will insta-buy. I think it will probably be a little bit of a while before you get the sales going up for people who just want to dabble a bit in modular, but they really wanted a monosynth first.
I kind of thought, I kind of thought Arturia had this, but if you think about it, it's not quite permanent like this is, right? So they had the Mini Brute 2 with the Rack Brute. So if you bought the Mini Brute, the sequencer version, not the, or you could do it with the keyboard version, I guess too. They had that little modular thing where you could actually click the Mini Brute into the Rack Brute.
Physically flick together. Yeah, I know.
And in a way, I kind of feel like that is better. I mean, not saying the synth is better because the Taiga is a great synth, but that design where you do have the option to not have that Eurorack space, or you can. That gives you that flexibility. So I kind of feel like what Ian's trying to say is that the money that you're spending on this is kind of high because you're being forced into that corner.
Exactly. Yeah. As
I
I said,
if you look at what's
go in.
Sorry, I was just going to say if you look at what's comparable, I mean, it's the price of a Hydrosynth.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yep.
And every much as I love the look of the Taiga, I would go for the Hydrosynth every time. I know it's not. We're losing the modular thing there, but I think that's a much better bang for buck really than this. And I know I'm not the modular guy, but I love the idea of this. I just think it was. I wish it was. If it was entry level, say it was. I mean, say it was 600, 700 quid, which would be entry level for anybody interested in getting into modular as well. Then I would then consider it at that price because I'll be looking at some of the stranger modules that you've shown on the show over the last few months, and I'll be looking to try and put them into something like this rather than
Yeah.
Then I would be interested. And my God, you'd be getting me onto modular.
but if you think this is expensive, my IntelliGel 7U cases are like $700-800 each.
Ian, you're lucky
just
there
for the case.
Yeah.
You do.
So this is not an expensive case.
No. You do have to think exactly, Andy. You do have to kind of think about this in a few different sort of elements. So we're all going to have different needs. Like, so some of us will go, I want the Taiga. Hey, what a bonus. I get a keyboard and some 24 HP to muck around with it. This is a no-brainer. Other people will go, I actually want the Taiga, but I've already got my Eurorack case, so I'll just get the desktop version. And some people, like me, are thinking, okay, let's look at this as a flexible product. I kind of felt like Pittsburg, being a Eurorack modular developer, I kind of felt like they could have made this so that you could pull the Taiga out as a
Yeah.
module.
Yeah, yeah.
And then,
it's interesting
like
they-
what Behringer have done, right? With their-
Exactly. Yeah, I was just thinking Behringer, the way they've done. I mean, it's amazing that Behringer haven't taken one of their many modular compatible units.
You can't
and-
pull this out. It's permanently in there. So
It's
why did they
also-
do that?
Well, it's also not modular sized. They've expanded it so the controls are a little bit further apart.
Yeah, true.
I think he said they gave you as much room between the knobs as it could give
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah, so at a certain point they went, no, we're breaking the modular wall,
Yeah.
as it were,
Yeah.
and we're gonna.
I do like
we're
the
gonna
I do like the
maximise
knobbage.
But still,
I do like the
they could have
knowledge.
made it so that whole desktop module.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
still-
thinking. That you can buy the desktop module for the Taiga, right? Make it so that you can just go pop that in, and it's a little chassis that fits everything in, and you've still got your little 24 HP on the right, if that's kind of where you want to go. And then if you pop the module out, you've got an option to maybe run a rail across and then turn it into if you haven't got the Taiga module in there, and maybe they run that into a full, I don't know, 84 HP little keyboard modular thing.
also
I mean,
because it's kind of
Dave,
entry
checking the-
level for modular potentially, they probably didn't want people taking the unit out, messing it up, have service calls. This is like get the keyboard with the thing in it, add the modules if you want, but you're just fine. You don't break it by doing something stupid with your forced modular, you know.
Yeah. But Dave Serchek in the chat makes a good point of he would prefer to get a grandmother over this, and I know what he means.
Well, I think I said the same thing when the grandmother came out. That I
But
thought
they just sound different.
I thought Moog missed a trick by not making those little, you know how it's all different coloured sections.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that they
yeah.
could have made them as modules, like you know how they do with Mogafogas. They could have made them little, you know, didn't have to be Eurorack. It could have been the 20 centimeter, 20 millimeter, sorry, 200 millimeter.
System 100
System.
format or
Yeah.
any of them.
Yeah,
Well, Behringer was smart with the System 55 that Kent got because they give you a whole row of expandability. So
Yep.
you're going to start loading crap in there, right? So that's a smart move. Yeah.
All right, moving on. That was good. Definitely. There's not a slap for Pittsburg modular. This is a cool thing.
No.
It'd be interesting to see how it goes.
Next thing is this: the MIDI Goblin. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
MIDI Goblin.
No.
All right. Actually, I did have a video for the Pittsburg modular, but don't worry about it. You guys have probably seen it. Let's have a look at the video for the MIDI Goblin. Hopefully, it's not going to play an ad.
Hello, and this is how patch saving works on the MIDI Goblin. You start by selecting your device, and then you turn on your synthesizer. The Reface series of synths automatically dumps its control parameters when it's started up. So as of this point, the MIDI Goblin already has all the values of your sliders. Simply go into patches. Sure, okay, we'll just do this one. Click Save New, enter a name,
Patch with a fully funded.
save, and you're done. Let's make another one here. Save that. I'm going to call that B. I think that says B. And you're done. You can also send your patch back by pressing the send button. There you go. And if you accidentally load a patch, you can use the rewind feature to
Nice.
set your device back to what's currently on the
Undo. Just call it undo.
tone generator.
Yeah.
You just see it. That's it.
Sounds horrible.
Oh, I mean, he's just mucking around with the
horrible.
patch.
I know.
So-
It's just-
What it is? It's a little Kickstarter project that hasn't even kickstarted off yet. It's a user-defined device which determines patch saving from MIDI that you can load and save patches using a micro SD card. The OLED screen has the ability to name patches, and there's an arpeggiator. So it's kind of like what it reminds me of. It reminds me of MIDI Bro or MIDI PAL or MIDI GAL. Do you guys remember Mutual Instruments brought that first one
Arduino-based
out?
stuff. Yeah, I have a MIDI PAL. Yeah.
So it reminds me of that way back when, but now this is kind of expanded and it's got a few more kind of cool tricks to it. It's got things like MIDI LFOs and all sorts of stuff in here. But I think the big one here is that I own a Reface CS, exactly the synth that he's showing here. And the fact that it never had patch storage on it was kind of like
annoying.
Criminal, really, for a modern synth.
Well,
and they gave you that stupid app that you could use via
Sound
iPad.
Mondo. Yeah.
But really, that and there was some QR code thing. It was a bit of a eclectic dream. This app. This is actually pretty cool. This feels like more like what a synth would have on a at a little menu thing that you'd have actually on board your synth. I don't know how much these things going to cost, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be fairly cheap. Anyway, I thought I'd let you guys know. The link will be in the description. Sorry, not in the description. In the blog article, which you can see below there during the week. But it is midigoblin.com if you want to go check it out for now anyway. So don't have any prices or anything like that.
Yeah, I hope they make it smaller.
It is pretty small.
It's like that.
Compared to the Reface, it's very small.
Well, yeah.
Any smaller, you
like
can't
that
read the
big.
damn screen.
It's probably like that big.
Well, no, I don't mean make the screen smaller. I mean all the space around the buttons smaller.
But this thing is great because I have all the Refaces, so almost all the Refaces too, and as well as tons of other stuff. And as much as I like Sound Mondo, it will eventually die because it's a web-based thing, right?
Exactly.
So this is future-proofing all your devices.
Yes. And when it comes to patch librarians, that's the kind of thing we
and
we
it's saving
need,
it.
don't we, with
It
And mobile,
technically it's unlimited to patches because I don't know if you guys saw, but as he was saving patches, it's saving them as text files on an SD card.
on an SD card, yeah.
So
it's
you
great.
literally it's just text saving on an SD card.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So yeah, go check that out when you can. Anyone else want to comment on that before we go on to the next?
No, good.
Cool.
Ooh, it has its own arpeggiator too.
Darren, just put. I can see you in the corner, Darren, but just put your hand up if you want to say something, or just talk.
Just saying it's just a kiln that new. Like, yeah, carry on.
All right. The next thing is we probably. I think we got the news from this last week, but I don't think it quite made it to the show. I don't know if it was just after the show or what. But anyway, Kurzweil have announced the K20 series, the 2061 and the 2088. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but these synths are going to feature the new or the old VAST system that you guys would have known about in the 90s when they had the 2500 and the 2000 series, right? But they're talking about now this new updated modern version of this VAST system. And anyway, so what I don't have any more information other than what I can tell you here. So both the 61 and the 88 will be fully weighted hammer actions with aftertouch keyboards. There's a new industrial design with aluminium and steel enclosures, so these things are going to be nice and sturdy. There's the re-sculptured K2000 synth library, so they're basically going to be giving you the original synth library, but it will be revamped to have the new
recurated.
So one of the things that you will be able to enjoy is, from what I believe, is you'll have two different filter modes. You'll have the crunchy digital like steppy filter that was in the original, or you'll have the higher DSP. It will sound more analog, which would be cool because then you can sort of have retro sounding K2000 stuff, right? Now, not sure if that's true, but that's the rumor I've heard. It'll be compatible. This is why I heard the rumor, because it says it's compatible with the K2 era sound libraries. So you'll be able to import all those sound libraries in from that era. There's 32 layers per program. There's customizable algorithms. There's a flash sample playback. There's VA, virtual analog, FM, and KB3 engines in there. The KB3 engines, that cool thing that they brought out. 2 GB of factory sounds, 2 GB of user sample memory, versatile FX change and master FX. It's all digital DSP stuff here, guys. It has a nice decent sized screen on it. It'll be if you're interested in that, it's a 480 by 272 character size screen. 16 zone MIDI controller, 30 physical controllers per zone, including an integrated ribbon. And it also has 16 arpeggiators, 16 MIDI CC sequencers, and 16 riff generators. And you're looking at no price information as yet, and they haven't actually announced it officially. This is just a tease. Has anyone heard anything more about these? Because I'd be really, really keen to know. I absolutely love that 2000/2500 era that Kurzweil brought out. The vast system is actually really cool. Now, guys have probably heard me say this. That whole Dreamland album by Robert Miles was done on this synth. So that gives you an idea of how good that synth is.
Exactly. Yeah. It was a real workhorse of a workstation at the time.
Yeah.
Well, you heard those sounds everywhere back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best place to find a grand piano sample for a while there. It was the Kurzweil was like, if you wanted to do orchestral stuff, for example, Kurzweils were the only option. It was sort of times have changed now, but it's interesting to see them kind of coming back.
Yep.
Although I don't really know much about what their business has been in the interim. Anyone else?
Are they still owned by Young Chang? Is it?
Not sure. I don't really know that side of it. Sorry, mate.
They bought them a while back, so I don't know.
Yeah. They did bring out a synth workstation a couple of years ago that we were kind of getting gooey about, and I don't know how far that's gone, whether it's actually come out yet, because I actually haven't seen any arrive here in this country yet. That's a problem in Australia. I don't know if you guys saw there was a thing that came out during the week where they were saying what countries buy the most brands, and Australia was declared as a Roland country, which kind of made me a little sad, actually.
It's probably because they
it
get their
doesn't.
stuff out to market.
It does make sense because Roland actually do have a headquarters here in Australia, whereas Korg don't, and a lot of the other companies don't. So, but anyway, I just thought Kurzweil. Yeah, go in.
Yeah, they had something at Gearfest a couple of years ago, which I had a quick play on. It was a workstation. It was, it sounded great, but I didn't give it a lot of attention, if I'm honest. I've never owned a Kurzweil keyboard. I had a little sort of module box back in the day, but which had some really interesting sounds on it. Yeah. It's like a half rack, I think.
The little desktop module. I know one. Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
and it had some. I mean, you couldn't do very much with it, if I remember rightly, but it had some quite interesting, sounds of it. But I've never owned one, so I don't really know.
I don't have anything modern by them, but I'm as well. The 1000 series, the 2000 series. So I like them all. They're really cool.
Well, the 1000 series is kind of weird because like that was before they had the VA ST system, right? So that was like a really
K250 lineage.
Yeah, and it's the real rompler, the 1000 ones.
They sound great though. It's really good stuff on there.
They had a really interesting way that they were doing their PCMs, like because I know at the time you've got Roland with their system, and you had a few others like Korg had their M1, and they were kind of doing it a different way. I mean, basically at the end of the day, they're just samples, but the way the samples were recorded, I just remember being a young musician in the day. I remember sort of biting into that marketing talk that they let out, that that they were sort of recording this stuff done at the highest level, and like it was done, that sort of stuff. And that was the 1000,
Yeah. But they had some synthesis features in there too. You could do some things with it, so it was kind of cool.
It's interesting. Kurzweil kind of gives you a bit of a polarizing sort of reaction to people. Like if you have a look at chat right now, there's a few people in there that are probably pooing on them.
Like, that's Kurzweil.
Yeah, but I think it's it's like any brand. Like you either love it or you don't. It's one of those things.
I was going to say it's 1000 Kenny G albums.
I went to a demo at the Marriott Hotel when it was in its heyday, and Bob Moog was shilling for them back then. So I got to see Bob Moog on stage, introduced the Kurzweil. A guy came out, did an incredible K250 demo, and I was immediately like, "This thing is awesome." But it was like $16,000 back then, right? So forget about that, right? Do you want a car? Do you want a Kurzweil? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then they had the cheaper one out. I finally eventually got a 1000 keyboard, and it's a racks and stuff, and it had most of the same sounds, and it had a nice weighted keyboard, and it was for the time, And I've always liked it since then. So.
Well, that was the thing. Like we used to go like, I mean, in the 90s, my mum was working at a university, and I used to go down and sort of hang out with her as a young adult. And the only time I would ever get to touch, sort of expensive music instruments was at this university, because they literally weren't anywhere else, because people didn't have the budgets to pay for them. And they had a Kurzweil there, and it was incredibly, like, it actually felt very, very good quality. Like, we're talking 90s, right?
Quality,
I'd played M1s, I'd played Rolands. This thing was 10 times better quality. It just felt like it was a professional bit of kit. And I know there's people out there that probably would say differently. The sound is a rompler and it's a piece of crap and whatever. I don't agree. I think it's I think they're very special. The Kurzweil, they have a very, very good name, I feel, for themselves.
Also, if you watch Late Night with David Letterman, Paul Schaefer played it every single night. You could hear how good it was.
Yeah.
It was his go-to instrument.
And he swore by it. That was right dead in the middle of or he had stuff everywhere else, but that was the one.
He had
middle.
Oberheims, he had other stuff on stage, but he always went to that Kurzweil.
Because it was so immediate. It brought the sounds that he needed straight away. It's a bit like me with the JV stuff from Roland, right? The XV 1080, or I never had a 5080 rack, but I always wanted one. But I had a 1080.
Yeah, I just have a 1080.
And it was like I eventually sold the 1080 and I got an XP30, which is the same thing, but it was keyboard version. But the thing literally was a go-to for me, because you could just get to those sounds straight away. It was instant stuff.
And it wasn't just bread and butter sounds. It had some good synthy sounds in it too. So
the VA in that vast system is actually really, really good. It's a really good VA system. And I just don't... I'm very surprised that it's not as popular in the synth community. It's just it kind of...
It's too hard to program.
Yeah, it hasn't...
It is too vast.
It is very... it's too vast.
It's too fast.
It's like a DX7.
Cool.
It's like a supernatural engine before we were ready for it.
Well, try and program a bloody D50 back in the day.
Yeah,
they weren't easy to program.
Yeah.
It's a bit older, but anyway. So give these guys some love when they come out. If you really haven't heard one for a while, once your local store gets them in, go check them out. I hope they bring them into Australia. I really, really do. And I hope these things aren't out of reach price-wise either.
If they're smart, though, because I reckon Australia might have had a fairly high sales rate. I suspect.
Yep. Well, they definitely sold these in Australia in the 90s.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely, I saw lots.
Because I've seen them around.
Yeah.
Right. What do we got next? Okay, so this next section of the news, I'm going to be talking about AMSynth stuff. They're eurorack modules, but these aren't new products that they've released. This is just a range that I've picked out. And the reason why I've picked out is because they've popped out on Modular Grid, and it's good to see the AMSynth guy doing this. Now, I want to bring these to your attention because a lot of us have the Behringer System 100 modules, and a lot of us have probably, now that we've had them for a couple of years, we're probably thinking, I thought Roland did something a little bit different, or I thought the way that Behringer did, like for example the 297 module, that's kind of a hybrid between two other Roland things, Anyway, so what AMSynths have done is they've brought out a whole bunch of 100M modules that you can get that will complement your System 100 stuff that you've got with Behringer. And obviously they've also fixed some of the faults with some of the others as well. Yes. So let's start off with this one, which is the VCO/VCF. It's the 111. So we would be used to seeing the 110. This is the 111. So this sits between the 110 and the 112. And the interesting thing about this is, I don't know if you can see it, but on the right hand side where the VCF is, they have internal patching with the triangle, square and sawtooth waveforms, so you don't actually need to connect your module. It's internally routed that way. I mean, if you do connect it, it will break that internal wiring. And it's one of the things that I loved about what Roland did in the day. And so AMSynths have brought those engineering thoughts across. But what's good about this is this has the where are we? Basically, it has the 3340 VCO,
cool
which is the cool audio chip in it.
Yep.
But they actually, I think they fixed some of the issues they had with that. There was like a linear op amp or something that they had to change to get it to sort of behave with the tuning better. So if you found your Behringer 110/112 module not quite behaving properly with tuning, this may be the one to get, because they've actually tweaked some things with that. And it's Wagoo saying, I already own all these. Wow, Wagoo, I'd love to have your budget. By the way, these may or may not be in stock at the moment, but these are just a few that I've, and there's more than what I'm going to show you, but I'll just show you a few of them anyway. Yeah. So there's that one. The next one is the sequential switch. Now I really like this. So what's different about this? So the Behringer one is that massive huge gate passive thing. That's what you can see at the top of the gate thing. But what this one has that the Behringer doesn't is it features basically a sequential switch on each of those gate. So you get the gate signal high, signal low opportunity with each of these gates, but you have a sequential switch with it as well. And each gate can be switched on in a sequence, right? So you can go from gate 1 all the way through to gate 4.
Cool.
And the output of each gate is mixed then together as well. And so you got down the bottom, you can see that sequential clock.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like this. This is a very useful little module.
It's a bit like a 4-step sequencer in there.
Yeah. And believe it or not,
provide the voltages.
Roland actually did something like this, and Behringer never recreated it. So this is why this exists. The sequential switch can also be controlled using an LFO with the onboard LFO or an external LFO. Okay, so there's that one. The next one is this, which is a dual DC VCA. Now, I wanted to read a little bit about this actually, because the design is based on the AS3360 chip, which contains 2 precision VCAs, and there are 2 CV input level slider pots for each VCA and a rotary pot for the gain. And these have like a TR-808 style knob on them as well. I don't know if you can notice that on the photo or not. So what are we looking at? We're looking at the 133. Let me just there was some information on their website that I thought was kind of interesting. So when Roland developed the System 100M, they created a rather nice dual VCA module, the 130, which you guys knows that Behringer have recreated as well. It is a great module, and the signal pass is AC coupled, which means that the VCA cannot be used for adjusting the level of CV signals. Although the Roland added more modules later on over time, they did actually include a DC mixer, blah, blah, blah. But this is actually a DC coupled VCA, which means that you can actually mix DC CV signals, not just audio. So a very handy module if you're kind of starting to get into the more advanced eurorack stuff. Definitely. Next is the mixer. The 131. It's an audio mixer. Now the difference between this and the, what is it, the 305 or the 350 or something? I can't remember what the Behringer one was.
327.
305. I got it right. So The Behringer one is actually a very cost-effective mixer if you want to buy that, and it works basically as a last module in your chain of your signals. Right, this is the Behringer one, not this one. But this one is more versatile in the sense that it can be patched in before your VCF or your VCA, and it can be used to mix oscillators, and it can be used, that sort of stuff. So each channel has its own input and slider and LED light, and the original circuit has been modernized with an RC4550 op amp, and a different approach. The panning has been taken, which removes the need for dual anti-log/log sliders.
Oh yeah, they're a bane of our existence. Get sourcing them for parts in old designs. Those pots, yeah.
They've got. Okay, so one of the things with this is the knobs that he uses are kind of very, very similar to the original Roland stuff. So there's a bit of retro sort of love going on with this stuff as well. So it's not just about what it does; it's also about what it feels like. So there's that. The original design from Roland it was intended to connecting the output of the mixer to external audio equipment. This actually has 3 jumpers inside that you can change, and you can set the output level to 775 millivolt RMS for patching into mixers or audio interfaces, or higher for patching back into eurorack systems if you want to.
Yeah.
So that makes it quite handy. I would like to have seen that as a switch on the front.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know why they didn't do that. Maybe it was just a room thing. I'm not sure. And the last one is this one, which looks very similar to the 297. Which I mentioned before.
Yeah.
This is called the 132. Now, the 132 is actually a CV mixer, like the 297. But the only thing this doesn't have is it doesn't have the portamento stuff on. Instead, what it does, it has a voltage processor on the right-hand side. And it has 2 copies of this, Mixer 1 and Mixer 2. And while I'm talking about the 297, I don't know if I should, maybe I might put the camera on the 297. We'll talk about that in a sec. Anyway, so the 132 is a 16 HP module with 4 inputs each, non-inverted and inverted outputs. Each output has its own 20mm side potentiometer. These are 2 precision preset voltage controls, providing 0 to +10 and 0 to -10. Each preset voltage can have its own dedicated output. But I mean, look, there's nothing really rocket science about this, and you're probably thinking, wow, what would you do? This is probably more precise as a CV mixer, is kind of where they're going with it. So and apparently initially Behringer actually planned to have the 132 and 165 modules separate, but what they decided to do is migrate them together and put them as a 297. Now 165, I believe, was the portamento module, is that right? And one of the problems with the portamento, I'll get the camera over to it now actually, is that let's go over to here. I've got one sitting in eurorack land. Can I get this thing to zoom in?
Actually, I had a quick question. One of the earlier ones you showed had red sliders, and the other ones have green sliders. Is there a method to the madness with the colors?
I think so. I think it's to do with CV and audio, from what I remember.
So there is a reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Most of the ones you showed were green, but at least one was red.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so there's the 297 in broad daylight, but you can see on the right hand side this has the portamento. Now, the very first batches that were sent out, which I happen to have, actually had a problem where the portamento were probably only usable from about... Can you guys see that scale on those sliders, how it goes 0 to 10 on the time sliders there? You could only pretty much use it from 8 to 10. The rest did absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Really?
It's definitely a bug.
It's a lot exponential pod or something, or is that?
Well, there is a little. You can put a little resistor on it if you know a little bit about fixing circuits and stuff, and it will actually fix it.
They should have made it linear taper though. Why did they make it logarithmic and exponential? So.
But if you do buy a new one with their new batches, it doesn't have that problem. Okay, so unlucky for Ranz, he's got the bad one.
Well, thanks for letting us know.
So they fixed that. So no issue.
The problem's fixed. Yeah, that's good.
Well, apparently they did, but what they didn't do is they didn't offer to bloody give it back to us.
Ah, dear.
So anyway, this is probably a better voltage mixer. Well, the other thing I like about it too, I don't know if you guys noticed, but all of the AMSynths have got proper nut-locked 3.5 millimeter sockets, right? Whereas the Behringer have those floated in. I don't know why it's done that. Float in the breeze.
Float in the breeze, yes.
Literally, if you go check out my YouTube channel, I actually show those magnifying camera where I've gone right in close, and you can actually see the whole thing moving as you're putting your cables into it.
They put a bit more stress on the circuit boards.
Yeah.
So there's some question about longevity over the decades.
Yeah.
These are more traditional.
I would be a betting man and say that the luck knot ones will definitely last longer. There's no way you can't beat physics. No matter how much you want to pray, you're not going to beat it.
You can never have too much support, Rants.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to send some love to AMSynths because I don't know if a lot of guys know it, but their System 100M Eurorack modules, there's a massive amount. There's actually
grow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. There's 16 modules that aren't the Behringer modules. So when you're looking at these System 100 things, right over here, I've got most of them. There's another 16 of these that you can get from AMSynths, and they go from all the stuff that I was talking about. There's dual SVF state variable filters, there's analog sequences, there's an AM8182 which is different.
What's the price range on them?
Chris, do you know about that one?
Which one?
The AM182.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I would have. Maybe I did.
I want to get my hands on it, but I don't think he's been selling them. So I really want to get my hands on that one. Prices, they're in their web store if they're available. Let's just see if we can find some.
But I'm saying all 16 would be like a lot, right? So.
Oh yeah, and it's not like Andy. It's not like collect them all. You know what I mean? Like you're not buying them. In this particular case, you're not going to be buying them just to say I've got a full System 100.
Replicate a system.
Yeah, in a lot of situations, you'd be like, for example, you'd be buying this one here because it's actually it's properly done. And there's also there is a different portamento module actually that he's got, which is the 165.
Are you also including the ones that he's announced that he's going to build this year, or he intends to build this year, in those 16? Do you think?
Yeah, so we did talk about
there
those.
Are a few,
a couple of weeks ago.
About that a couple of weeks ago.
They aren't on his website.
So you
see,
Behringer didn't just include flaws from the originals; they just kind of messed up some of the modules. Is that what you're saying?
They kind of did, and they kind of fixed them. So they kind of like the 297, for example, with the portamento. They did do a reissue. I just don't like how they reissued it, but they didn't reach out to anyone who bought one, which I think is kind of a bit naughty. Okay, so that one that you're looking at there is £89.
Yeah, quite reasonable.
And they're in stock right now. The previous one, the output mixer, the audio mixer, which is the 131. Sorry, I've got to read through. They're in stock. They're also £89. The dual DC VCA, which is the 133, is £89 and also in stock.
How chunky are they behind the panel? Are they pretty deep?
This one is more expensive. This one is. I don't have side photos. Sorry. I see if there's this. I'll see if there's any specs on them. This one is £129. And this one is going to be
Definitely
also
more
more
expensive.
expensive. This is £169.
Yeah, this is the one.
There is a new module out that is done called the 8113, which is the Wave Shaper one, which is basically a VCO Wave Shaper, which we showed a few weeks ago on the show. Andy, let me see if I can answer your question about the depth of these.
Good question.
Are they like stacked circuit boards, or is it pretty elaborate?
He doesn't actually tell you here.
No. I got the feeling they're single boards.
And there's no photo
They
of
may
the
also
board.
be stacked, I don't know.
No, there's no photo of the board, and there's literally from underneath or anything like that.
No problem.
When you do buy AMSynth stuff, though, it's kind of like they come in just plain cardboard boxes with a sticker on them. So he does it. It's really kind of interesting. Like, so I bought that 2500 keyboard module for the resonant filter. So you can see it there.
It's the only one that's not big. The smaller one.
That one there. So really, really easy to deal with. Ship direct. You can buy them straight off them, and they'll ship directly to you.
Yeah.
Anyway, AMSynths.
You might also want to mention that the thing about the 113 is it's the oscillator and the filter are a different voicing to the 1110. They're more
The 113 is
Jupiter.
Yeah.
More in tune with the Jupiter.
That's the one which has got the waveform mixer.
So if you want another 110, but you don't want the sound of another 110, it will probably sound a little bit different, but still Rolandy. So because it's SV 340 based.
So do you remember how, Chris, I was telling you about how this has got some like extra kind of coolness with that oscillator with the 3340? So there's a whole bunch of technical stuff in here. He writes, but there's pulse width issues on it, for example, where the control voltage needs to vary the pulse width from 50% to 5%. The voltage at pin 5, blah blah blah. You need to use a resistor from 24k to 18k in the op amp buffer to fix like voltage variances.
He basically blogs his entire process.
Yeah, it's
That's
actually
the cool
really
thing about
interesting to read. It's really cool.
It is quite good fun to read, yeah. And he goes back to, he's really into the research as well of the original modules way back. He has masses of actual virtually encyclopedic pages on the original System 100 series. That's where I've done most of my research on how things like the sequential switch worked and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. He's pretty into it.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys can go check out his website. There's literally like a plethora of information on there, and you can go further into it. But I would, like for example, if I was wanting to expand this, and I do want to expand my System 100M, in a way it was kind of a bit selfish of me showing you the AMSynth stuff, but don't be surprised in the future if you see some more AMSynth System 100M modules coming in here. Probably where you see the maths sitting right now, and also that extra envelope generator from the 2500 series I don't need. So I've got some space, and I definitely will be looking at some of those other modules, like for example the state variable filter, which is one that I really wouldn't mind getting my hands on, especially for the price. There we go. News this week done, finished.
Hey. Good stuff.
A lot of people don't realize though, but System 100M has such a good sound, and I personally don't think Roland were ever able to make it sound like that again in any of their keyboard synths.
I only have the plug outs and they sound good, so
Yeah, I don't think they sound as good as a
but
as a real.
all I could get at the time, right? So
Yeah, true. Yeah. But yeah, you can stick them into your System 8 or whatever, I guess. If you do come to that. Steve reckons the SH5 came close, he's saying in chat. I mean, I feel like Roland, when they sort of asked Meleco to do the System 500 stuff, they definitely put a nod to the SH5 by making that 505 filter module. So you are definitely coming down the right path. But I still feel like, well, I'm kind of where I was going with it. I kind of felt like all the digital stuff that they tried to sort of remake the patches of the System 100, they never sounded the same. They just sounded like a bad sample PCM version with trying to get it right. But having said that, don't forget this guy worked for Behringer as a contractor, and he designed all of the System 100 stuff that Behringer released. So it sounds to me like in some of the cases maybe he didn't quite have the last say in some of their decisions, like he was talking about that 297 module, for example.
I think they were on a schedule. He may needed a bit more time to mull over the ideas. I mean, you think about how long it's taken for him to get out there. He's been thinking about it for a long time. The luxury of time is not afforded to everyone.
We're Goose saying he didn't do the System 100. I thought he did. I know he definitely did the 2500, but I thought he did the System 100 as well. And I also thought he helped them with the 2600, the ARP 2600.
Oh, could Wagyu be wrong?
Well, he can. It's not the first time he's been wrong. But I'm pretty sure he did.
I thought it was Google. Isn't Wagyu Google?
All computers make mistakes, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Wagyu's actually an AI.
Google don't lie.
Yeah, he's not a real person.
It's an AI. It's a good point. Ahead of its time. It's been working that way for 25 years. We've known him.
He's the first emergent AI, way ahead of its time. So.
Yes.
I did, Kent. So hold your horses, because that section is about to happen. In fact, why don't we do it now? It's a good segue. Kent.
Oh yeah, there is. Oh yeah.
Let's do this segment. Why don't we do it? We've only got one to show this week because I haven't had a chance to put anything else together, and Kent was the person that made it happen. Yes, the Polymoog, if you want to pronounce it differently. The 203A, and according to Kent, I'll just tell you his
project.
I'll just tell you his exact words.
That's good. That's great.
Is it repeatable, or do we have to go to wait till the pub?
Kent sent me this message, and it says, "Here's one for your eBay scam section that is a bit on the delusional side." I like that. A bit on the delusional side, indeed. Let's put someone in the corner here, shall we? Does anyone own a Polymoog?
No, I played one right at the beginning when they first came out and thought it was horrible and unreliable. But Ken will confirm that.
Put Daren there. Cool. Anyone in chat own a Polymoog or had owned a Polymoog? I do have this as a live listing, by the way. Should we go check it out? We can click
I like
on
the
things.
idea of the resonators on it. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, this is the one that Alex Ball just did a video on, the two different versions. Yes, this is the one.
Yeah.
I watched that video about Alex Ball. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but it's not the preset one, is it?
It is the preset one, but it has...
Oh, this is the preset one?
It's preset, but you have a variation. You can add variation to it by going into variation mode.
This was basically the precursor to the memory Moog, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
I mean, I can't remember if it was Mark Doty. I think it was Mark Doty that talked about this a while ago. We're talking maybe 10 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself that there was things that he loved about it, that he hated about the memory Moog, and there was things he loved about the memory Moog that he hated about this.
Interesting.
So it's kind of like, if I'm not sure if they got it's definitely not, memory Moog definitely wasn't divide down like this was, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But there was some ideologies that they got from this, like for example this this memory patch recall system, for example. The resonators, like you were saying, are interesting, right? I wonder what made them
they had a few
choose that.
different- Yeah, they had some different signal paths. Basically, they had the same oscillators going through 3 or 4 different signal paths, and you blended them together in the mixer, which can sound uninspiring or brilliant, depending on what the sound
Was
is.
this another one that Herb Deutsch worked on? Is that?
If this is the one from the Alex Ball video that I just mentioned,
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to
yes,
watch it.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not Bob Moog. It's completely.
It's not.
Yeah, 'cause
the
Herb
guy's
did
name.
some stuff.
Yeah, it's his baby. Uses the special chips that he designed, so they had to make it work.
So £4,000,
1.5 did.
8,000 Australian dollars. What is it, about 5,000, 6,000 US, somewhere around there. And if you want, you can pay with PayPal credit from little as £188.43 per month for 24 months. They come
Bargain.
crying to mum if you can't afford it. Dave Lucci's design, according to Robbie.
There you go.
I don't know. I
only watched it today, so.
I think I've been spoilt probably by the fact that a lot of these synths I've only ever heard in recordings. I've never touched them in real life, so I don't really come from a part where I can actually give a professional opinion about these. But I can tell you that every single time I've heard a Polymoog on the recording artists that I've heard, they've always sounded amazing. Doesn't mean that they haven't had challenges recording these synths, and these synths haven't been dogs to use, but they've always sounded good. And that's the problem, right? Because we romanticize about, that sounded so good on that particular album, that artist.
It was only at the beginning of the signal chain that they used to produce those sounds.
Yeah.
And it's actually the whole studio that helped produce the sound, plus a whole lot of decisions made along the way that sometimes even the musicians have forgotten what they did.
And if I remember rightly, there was I know this is not Polymoog, this is a memory Moog I'm talking about now, but I'm pretty sure it was Jean-Michel Jarre. He had a concert where the memory Moog went out of tune and he could not get it to go back in. And I just remember seeing him being frustrated with it.
Yeah.
And the guy behind him had to take over his part because he couldn't get it to work out.
I think it was Michael Gies, wasn't it? The other guy.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
They have a little language figured out where they go, okay, it's messed up again. Can you take over?
Yeah. and the thing is, like,
Shorthand.
that's the problem with a lot of these old vintage things in the day. You would like go and perform on stage live. These days we have problems with our laptops crashing. Just reboot it, hit back up again.
Yeah, sorry, folks. Ableton's reloading. Just drink your beers.
Or glitching noises from no apparent reason.
Yes. We lost Ian.
Ian's
He's like
glitched.
It's frozen. Looks like he was about to look at his watch. No, I'm sure he wasn't.
Either that or he fell asleep and hit the off button as his arm fell down.
So I'm just reading about the Polymoog on Wikipedia.
Cool.
And I just wanted to find out, because I always thought, and I didn't say it was, but I always thought it was a divide down synth, right? And that was the difference between this and the memory Moog. Because you got to remember, I think the Liberation was about the only other one that I can remember anyway. I'm probably sure there's others, but the main sort of polyphonic Moog synths that were out in the 70s and 80s were these, right? and they came out in different times. So this Polymode came out from, according to Wikipedia, it's from 75 to 1980. And they sold for $5,295. That's a lot of money back in the day. That would have been a pretty expensive synthesizer in the day. The 203A, which is the one that was on that eBay auction that was pictured before, was actually released in 1975. And then the 280A was released in 1978. Now, there'd probably be some differences between those, I'm sure. It'll probably go into it in this article. But, yeah. I don't know. So they have some specific sounds according to this Wikipedia article. They're saying like the Polymode featured more presets than its predecessor, whatever its predecessor was. It had Vox Humana, strings, different string 1, string 2, electric piano, honky tonky, and a bunch of others. And the controls over those were limited to an octave balance, an envelope attack, and an LFO modulation depth and rate.
Yeah.
So it was pretty basic in that sense.
The presets were on.
Apparently, Cat
individual
Stevens
cards.
used the Polymoog. I didn't know that. In the album Is It So? Remembering the Days of the Old Schoolyard. And Gary Newman obviously was the one I was going to say. Because that's in Cars, right?
Yep.
That's
And
the one I
crap ton of his
recognise.
other
And so,
works.
so you were going back to what I was saying before about the memory of that synth.
Yeah.
That's the one that I will go to, right?
Yep.
Well, who else? Who else? Famous Prince used it in Sound 80. I didn't know that because I'm not really that up on all of Prince's stuff. I know that Rick Wakeman definitely used it, and Tony Banks may have had one as well, if I remember rightly. But if Tony Banks used it when he was with Genesis, that would have been on Abacab. That would be my thought. Because when was Abacab? Abacab was... Oh no, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was a bit after Abacab, before Abacab. Abacab was 81, wasn't it? What album was it on? What was the one before Abacab? Do you guys remember Genesis from this particular sort of late 70s era?
No. Sorry, I'm not up with my Genesis history.
One of my favourite songs of all time is Abacab. I actually love that song. Let me just have a quick look here. I'm just trying to think of the album before Abacab. Because it was the reason why Abacab is kind of a big thing for Genesis is they actually had quite a bit of a change with the lineup with the band, and they had a different producer and different studios and all sorts of stuff. Not a different studio. I think they remodeled a studio. They got a whole bunch of new gear in, so they had a different sound. And you'll notice it if you actually go and listen to some of the older albums. You'll notice it. It's very progressive stuff. Anyway, I think Duke was the album before, so that might have been on the album.
I think you're right.
Duke.
Sorry, I dropped out there. But
That's okay.
had
Welcome
slight
back, mate,
tech
yeah.
problems.
And
Duke was the one before.
yeah, so that would have the Polymoog on it. Because and then there was 3 was 78, and that would have been prior to them getting the Polymoog. Yeah, that was too old. So, and Duke was their last album before they remodeled their studio, from what I remember. And it does have a massively different sound. If you go and listen to Abacab and then you go and listen to the previous album, you'll know exactly what I mean. Genesis had a massively different sound. It was because they remodeled. Yeah. So Duke was their last album with the producer of David Henschel, which was what CMKMKY said in the chat. Yeah. Yep. Anyway, Polymoog, hey? I don't know if you guys got a Polymoog. Would it be a cool thing to have now, or do you kind of feel like the cool factor's sort of gone now with this?
Like I say, I never liked it, but that was
You never liked it?
No, never liked it. But that was the experience of spending 10 minutes on it at a show. So I never lived with one, but reliability was, I think, always an issue with them, and it's still an issue even as a heritage product, really. If you buy one now, you're going to have to keep spending money on it, getting it fixed.
I mean, I kind of feel like you would just pump that thing through massive amounts of effects. That would be the only way you could kind of make it sound different. Because you're just limited. That's the whole point.
We're treated like an old Casio.
Yeah, like an old Casio. Yeah, exactly.
I prefer an old Casio.
Steve says Steve in chat says it's about as cool as having ingrown toenails.
Yeah, there you go. You see.
Oh my god, I had if you've ever had kids, you'll know exactly how it feels when you have to repair ingrown toenails on your children.
Oh no!
Because they get sport injuries. It's not a nice thing. It is not a nice thing.
I had a toe cauterized, so it doesn't do it anymore. So.
There you see, we talk about everything. We talked biscuits last week, ingrowing toenails this week.
Yeah.
Let's not go any further with ingrowing.
No pictures of that though.
No, please.
I have to buy a set of
Crumpets and
tires
toenails.
for my car, right? And I was I thought you guys would be interested in this. So I thought, oh yeah, we'll just go to the side of the car and have a look what sort of sidewall information it's got, and ring up a tire place and ask them how much it is. Oh no, that is not that easy, is it? Why? Because apparently the car that I've got has a very specific size rear tire. It's different to the front, by the way. You can't get the same on the front and the rear.
Yeah.
And there are literally only 2 tire manufacturers in the world that make this specific tire, and one of them doesn't have any stock in the world, not just in Australia, and the other one, it has stock, but they want to extort me out of all of my life savings to buy said tire.
Ow.
835 Australian dollars for one tire.
Ouch.
I'm going to change the car. I'm going to change the car.
Exactly. Yes, it's probably better, more financially beneficial.
Someone else can deal with it.
I'm gathering it is a sports utility vehicle of some kind.
Oh yeah, you've seen it.
Oh, yes, I have.
Yeah.
You don't have a discount tire warehouse equivalent down there? You can get cheaper tires.
The brand is Bridgestone, and the tire is an Alenza 001. There you go. But yeah, it's frustrating because you would think that let's get some I know there's a lot of different options for cars and stuff, and but you'd have some sort of standardization. But I actually was not prepared to be hearing that you've got a very unique tire.
It used to be a thing back in the day, but I haven't heard of that for years. Only having.
I always like to put Bridgestone. I always like to put Bridgestone tires on my motorbikes.
Well, there's one thing I like about Bridgestone. I actually stopped buying them for a while because they were always quite expensive, just as a general rule, compared to a lot of other brands.
Yeah, more the Pirellis and things like that.
And the moment that you stop buying them is when you start missing them, because one of the things that Bridgestone have, in my opinion anyway, that a lot of other tyres don't, is they have... It's a very subtle thing, but the ride is always better on a Bridgestone tyre than on a cheaper Korean or whatever, Chinese or whatever tyre you
do
think
notice
of.
It, don't you?
Yeah. And you'll get slightly more road noise. You'll get slightly less grip. You'll get slightly, it's only a subtle thing. But with cars, you can have a subtle thing, and it's a massive thing. over time because it starts to grate on you.
It depends on how long you're driving down a flat, straight road, hey, Rance?
Oh yeah,
Like
the Mitchell Freeway.
which we have a lot of here
How
in
wide is
Western
the
Australia.
They're 20 inches. It's not that wide. They're 20 inches. They're still pretty wide, but it's a
pretty
20
wide,
inch. Yeah.
Hey, speaking of that, Ranzee, you ever seen the movie Road Games? I just watched that again the other day. It's an old classic.
I haven't seen Road
classic
Games.
movie.
No,
Oh,
I've
you gotta
seen
check it
it.
out. Stacey Keach and
Stacey
it's
Keach.
an Australian
wow,
classic
yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Road Games. Yeah.
1982.
I have to check that one out. Maybe I have seen. I've seen a lot of movies over my time.
Has
Just watching Mad
what's it?
Max
Jamie Lee Curtis is in also.
a couple of days ago.
Stacey Keach and Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
They're going through. It's a. I don't want to spoil it, but it's just this crazy thing to the outback. So all kinds of characters.
Maybe I have seen it, but it doesn't ring a bell. Looking at the
Doesn't ring a bell.
the graphic,
The
of
graphic, yeah.
the video does not ring a bell.
Poster or whatever.
I mean, I do
It's
remember.
not a common thing. It's hard to find, so you might have to dig for it.
Yeah. Cool.
Find the one Video Easy store still open in Australia.
Blockbuster.
Yeah. Good old Blockbuster. We used to have one down the road.
Used to- But we used to have them all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the day.
We had Blockbuster and Hollywood Video. They're competing.
Hollywood Video was actually Video Easy, but they couldn't use the name because some idiot in our country had already registered it, so they had to rename it to Video Easy. Video Sleazy, I used to call it.
I miss the mom and pops. Those are my favorite stores. That's to get all the crazy movies.
Well, the reason why I called it Video Sleazy is because you'd go in there, right, and they'd have all the general movies, but then you'd have this little area
Adult
tucked
section.
around to the right-hand side where all the
Yeah.
sleaze bags used to go.
Exactly. Do
I mean,
Oh yeah, we had a thing called the hot
in
box.
trench
When I used to work in
coats,
a video store, we had the hot box. They called it.
The hot box?
You sneak
You
around
know
the
when-
corner and go in there and go.
Wear a hoodie.
I mean, back in the 80s,
Exactly.
we had a sort of mum
the
and
trench coat.
we had a mum and pop sort of video store, and they used to do snuff movies. You know, when snuff movies were a thing,
Oh yeah.
you could actually rent snuff movies from. I never did because
Wow.
in the UK it was illegal, and you would be prosecuted for it. But yeah, no, he would rent.
I've
them
never
out to
understood that stuff.
people. No, me neither. Because he offered it to me, I went, "No, you're all right, thanks. I don't want to see somebody die."
Honestly, I just don't understand how people can get off on that sort of stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Some people are just wired differently.
Oh yeah.
That's,
There's no doubt about it.
Is long before the internet, that was how people got their kicks, right? And then all the creepy stuff started showing up on.
Now you have the dark web, don't you, Andy?
Yeah.
Well, even before that, you had reporters getting their
that's-
heads cut off by terrorists
Gee.
and stuff.
gone in a dark. I was going to say
Yeah.
cat videos.
Yeah.
cat videos, the crack of the internet.
Cats on synth videos, even better.
Oh, LOL cats. Yeah, I can't has cheeseburger. Yeah.
All right. Well, with regards to the showtime, maybe we'll just go back to the 1 p.m. for next week. We'll see how we go anyway. But if it does change, I will always post on YouTube what time it's scheduled to go anyway. So you guys should always check that out. But I do try, and if I get time, because my weekends are really busy, like trying to find time to sit in front of this computer and like put social media posts up is actually, it's almost like I've got family yelling at me. What are you doing in there? Get out of here. We've got things to do.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
to
kind of
get away
that.
with it. Yeah.
So I'll try, but Discord's always good. I tend to put a post up in the announcement section of the Discord server channel. So do check out Discord. If you're ever wondering too, I do have a Discord server. That's the way to get to it, bit.ly/Ranzee Discord. Do check that out. I also should mention that every week we need to say thank you to all the people that support me and this channel. These guys especially, because they are giving their own personal time. So that's really, really important. So there's one way to say thank you to these guys, and that is by visiting their Bandcamp page and downloading their music and going to their YouTube channel and doing that sort of stuff. So, do check that out. All of their links are in the description to the YouTube channel in the video. I think, what have I got for you? I think I've got your YouTube channel in for you.
Yeah, I have, yeah. You have, yeah.
So that's fine. Now, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to find that list. Where are we?
Supporters.
Which one is that? That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. I should label these better, shouldn't I?
Now you've got other things to do.
Where's the
You've
fun
got
in that?
family life.
You got to fly by the seat of your pants. That's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fly by the seat of your pants. That's it. Here it is. Right, let's do this one. I don't know what happened to the music, but anyway, let's do that one. Thank you to our sponsors. Think of all the music there. I don't know if this has been updated, by the way. I think the Patreon one needs to be updated. I think Wagoo's on there, by the way. Anyway, so do that. And big thank you to all the chatties for being part of the show as well, as I always say. And don't forget, it hasn't been very successful, I have to say. The Zoom has not been that successful. But from my point of view, the implementation of what this company has done for this software for Zoom has been really good. So for you guys, you should jump onto it because it makes life very, very easy for me compared to what we had to do before. And Daren will remember some of the early days when we were doing Skype calls on this show to get people in. It would have been like...
Yeah, they were cool, weren't they?
2 tin cans and a bit of string.
I gotta say, having used Skype, Teams, and Zoom for a lot of work stuff over the years, Zoom was always a better experience.
Yeah.
I hate Teams.
Teams I don't like. And the problem with StreamYard is it's just, for me, it's just too competing in terms of what it can do this end to that end, and I just found like it was like basically managing 2 completely different shows, whereas Zoom completely integrates into this show, if that makes sense. So it just makes it
actually
easier.
WebEx was pretty good too, way back when.
Yeah. By the way,
Yeah, but you have to be careful with X because certain people can be listening on for information.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah. Conspiracy.
Well, it's Cisco, so you never know what Cisco's up to. So,
where's my tin hat? I was going to say with Zoom, it's no different to StreamYard. All you need is just a browser and a webcam. But with Zoom, it actually is better on the app. So it doesn't cost you to download and install the app, but it is actually better on the app because you get more features within the app.
Integration. Yeah.
It's still using WebRT, right? So in the back end, it's probably just got a Google Chrome engine or something, right? In the back end, I'm sure, with WebRT. Yeah. Anyway, that's it for this week. If you guys want me to cover anything on the show, please send information in via Discord, email me direct, whatever. Just like Kent did this week with his Polymoog. So do tell me if you're interested. Let me know if you want me to cover anyone's music or anything like that. You can, we haven't done that for a while, so we can talk about people's music other than ours. We're talking about you guys watching.
I was thinking that, because Andy and Grace put an album out last week, so maybe if Andy
that's his little hardware jams thing, isn't it? That's kind of like a collaboration. It is really good. Yeah. Haven't seen Andy for a couple of weeks, so hope he's all right. That's Andrew Brooks, if you're wondering who we're talking about. But yeah. All right. We're done. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Take care.
Toodles.